Welcome to episode 54 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the Seven Against Thebes, with the story of the burial of the Heroes of Thebes. Of the family of Oedipus, only two sons of the fallen brothers remained, and Ismene, Antigone's sister. Legend is silent concerning her. She died childless, unwed, and her death closed the tale of that unblessed family. Of the 7 heroes who had gone forth against Thebes, only Adrastus escaped the assault and slaughter of that last encounter. His immortal horse, Arion, begotten by Demeter and Poseidon, bore him away in winged flight. He reached Athens safely and there took refuge in the sanctuary of a temple, holding to the altar as a suppliant. Stretching out a twig of olive, he begged the Athenians to help him obtain honorable burial for the men who had fallen before the walls of Thebes. The people of Athens granted his plea and accompanied him back to the city under the leadership of Theseus. And so the Thebans were forced to consent to the burial. For the bodies of the fallen heroes, Adrastus heaped 7 pyres and held funeral games near the river Asopus in honor of Apollo. When the pyre of Capanesus burst into flames, Ivide, his wife, daughter of Iphis, threw herself into the fire. The body of Amphiaraus, whom the earth had swallowed up, could not be found, and the king sorrowed because he could not do honor to his friend. "I miss the eye of my army," he said. "I miss him who was both the greatest seer and the most valiant fighter in battle." When the burial rites had been performed, Adrastus had a beautiful temple erected before the wall of Thebes and dedicated it to Nemesis, or retribution. Then with his allies from Athens, he left the country. The Epigoni. 10 years later, the sons of the heroes who had fallen in the war against Thebes resolved on a fresh campaign to avenge the deaths of their fathers. There were 8 descendants, and they were called Epigoni, Alcmaeon, Amphiaraus, sons of Amphiaraus, Aegilius, the son of Adrastus, Diomedes, son of Tydeus, Promachos, son of Parthenopaeus, Sthenelus, son of Capaneus, Thersander, son of Polynices, and Euryalus, son of Mastius. The aged king, Adrastus, sole survivor of that first host which he had fought against Thebes, joined the expedition, but would not assume command, for he wanted one who was young and strong to hold so important a post. So the sons of the heroes asked the oracle of Apollo whom to choose for their leader. The answer was that it should be Alcmaeon, son of Amphiaraus. But when they offered him the command, he was uncertain whether to accept this honor before avenging his father. He, too, asked the oracle what his course should be, and the god answered that he was to do both. Up to this time, his mother, Eriphyle, had not only kept the necklace destined to bring calamity upon its owner, but had also managed to lay hold of the veil, the second gift of Aphrodite. Thersander, son of Polynices, who fell heir to his veil, had given it to her for the same reason his father had once bestowed the necklace, as a bribe, for he wanted her to persuade her son, Alcmaeon, to take part in the campaign against Thebes. In obedience to the oracle, Alcmaeon assumed command and postponed the act of vengeance until his return. He headed a considerable host, for not only had he assembled the men of Argos, many warriors who craved a chance to show their daring joined him, and so it was, a great army which advanced to the gates of Thebes. And here the sons renewed the stubborn siege their fathers had fought 10 years before. But the new generation were more favored by fortune, and Alcmaeon won a decisive victory. Only one of the Epigoni fell in battle, Aegileus, son of King Adrastus. Philaodomus, son of Eteocles, slew him with his own hand, but he was killed by Alcmaeon, commander of the Epigoni. When the Thebans had thus lost their leader and many of their men besides, they left the battlefield and took refuge behind their wall. There they consulted Tiresias the blind seer, who was still alive, although he was over 100 years old. He advised them to take the only way still open to them, to leave the city, while they sent a herald bearing offers of peace to the Argives. They acted on his words, dispatched a herald to their enemies, and while he was negotiating with them, loaded their women and children on wagons and fled from Thebes. In the darkness of night, they came to Telphusium, a city of Boeotia. Blind Tiresias, who had shared their flight, took a deep draught from a cold spring flowing outside of the city and died. But even in the underworld, the wise soothsayer kept aloof from the rest, for not like the other shades did he rove about aimlessly with blank and idle mind. He retained the power of thinking great thoughts and of seeing beyond what is given mortals to know. His daughter, Manto, had not gone with him. She stayed behind and fell into the hands of the conquerors who occupied the abandoned city of Thebes. But these had made a vow to dedicate to Apollo the best of what they found in the city, and they now decided that no spoils could be more welcome to the god than Manto, who had inherited the divine gift of her father. And so the Epigoni took her to Delphi and consecrated her as a priestess of the sun god. Here she grew more and more perfect in the art of soothsaying. Her wisdom deepened, and she became the most noted seeress of her time. People often saw an old man come and go in the temple where she presided. She taught him verses full of vigor and sweetness and glory, which soon resounded through all the land of Greece. He was a singer from Ionia, and his name was Homer. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.